Hey guys, and welcome back. So what's going on? This is going to be a bit of a different video today. It's been a while since you've actually seen me doing this kind of stuff, talking actually about football. I know you've been seeing my vlogs recently, and I apologise if I put this in and it's a bit of a break-up in between my vlogs. It might not make sense, but it's only because of the reason I want to get this video out, because as you can tell by the title, these are my Premier League predictions for this season. I'm not a massive football fan, to be honest with you guys, personally myself. I've been keeping up to date with the transfer window. I've been really enticed by into the league by some of the signings that have been made. We've got the likes of Ibrahimovic, Pogba, Kante moving to Chelsea, Leicester signing some really good potential players, Arsenal getting Xhaka in the midfield. I'll talk more about that as it gets into it, but let's just crack on with this video and see what I'm going to show you my predictions for this season. So we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. Now, there is going to be some probably quite controversial decisions in this video, so I want to make sure that we get let's have a little debate, if I want to call it, in the comment section down below. Get down there, all your thoughts, all your feelings on this video, everything that you say, what you guys would think your predictions would be. If you want to make them, put a link in the chat and I'll go have a look at them by the end of this video. Let me know down below. So I'm going to start off with the 20th place. Now, the reason why I'm picking this team is solely because of the fact they've lost players, and from what I know, this is me personally, from what I know, they haven't signed anyone at all. I mean, if they have, they're probably someone that's not going to make an impact big enough to keep them up. So I've gone with Swansea in 20th place, and the reason why I have done that is because I think they lost Andre Ayew to West Ham, and personally I don't think that was a very good signing anyway, because I'm not a massive fan of him. I don't think he's a great player, but I just mean he was their only source of goals, and Gomes, he's inconsistent, he lacks pace. They just haven't got the kind of squad that I think that they need to stay up. So I don't know. I put them in 20th place just because the manager. I don't know much about Swansea, right? But from what I've seen, they were shaky last season. I think they ended up finishing about 17th, 16th. I'll put it on the screen if I put it wrong. But they had to fight to stay up last season, and they only just got away with it. I wasn't completely convinced with that performance. But I put them in 20th place because I feel Swansea are going to come bottom of the league. There's not much more to say about them. Swansea are in a bit of a state right now, I think. So moving on to 19th place. Now we're going to go with Middlesbrough, and I'm saying this because they have signed Negredo, and he did show some really good potential and what he can actually do at the business end of things at Manchester City when he was there a few seasons ago. But I personally just don't think he's going to be enough to keep them up. They had Ramirez, or whatever his name was, that they got from Southampton. I'm not sure if they kept hold of him. If they did, let me know down below. But and I might change it maybe, but I'm not buying it. Yeah, Aitor Karanka, I think he is a good manager. That's his name, but I'm just not. He did getting out of the Championship is a tough league, and you can't really ask much more from, it's an achievement getting out. But I'm putting Borough in 19th place because I feel they haven't got the defensive shape that's needed, because it's not just about scoring goals in the Premier League. You need to be able to defend if you want to stay up, because otherwise you can score 3 goals a game and you will still lose. And I'm just not. Their keeper and their fullbacks are always quite weak, so I'm putting Borough in 19th place. Now, some of you might be a bit shocked when we're putting Burnley in 18th place, but I mean they've been in and out. Sean Dyche's taken them up and down from the Championship to the Premiership for quite a few seasons now. And they have got, of course, Sam Vokes up front and Andre Gray. Now, obviously, Sam Vokes was really good at the Euros. We saw what he can actually do when you give him some good service, if they can get the balls into them. But and Andre Gray, he is a good player, but I just don't know if he's good enough to cut it at this level. Yes, he's got pace. Yes, he's still young, but I mean, I personally don't think he's going to be good enough to supply them with enough goals and get the wins that they're going to need. And their midfield's a bit wishy-washy with like George Boyd and stuff like that. I mean, they just haven't got the strength and depth. And I know they say it's always about signing players, and because I am doing this a little bit late. Yes, Swansea did beat them yesterday, but I'm just like, that's not the reason why I'm not convinced. They've got Andre Gray, they still can't score, and that's against Swansea. And yes, it's the start of the season, so you can't really get much of an idea, but it's just not enough. It's got to be better if they want to stay up there. 17th place and 16th place, I've put West Brom and Watford there. Now, the reason why I've done that is because West Brom, they've got Rondon and they've got Sessegnon, but again, they haven't signed anyone, and really neither of Watford. Watford is still sat there with Troy Deeney up front, and I'm sorry, no offence, he's getting a little bit podgy, that Deeney. He used to be quite ripped, but he's there no longer. But I think, Watford, they do have a good defence, and Gomes is a great keeper, but he is starting to get old now. But last season, yes, he did get a lot of clean sheets. He was solid in the defence with Neom and Prodel. It actually looked quite good, but For West Brom, I don't know that. I feel like they're just not good. Even Rondon wasn't that good last season when he signed, and they're not. Both of these teams look like they're lacking to score goals, because Deeney only scored about 6 or 7 goals in like the second half of the season last year, or so, which is not good enough if you want to stay up. Igalo's quite good as well, but I mean, he sloped off as well. Although he started well, he sloped off. I'm putting those two as 17th and 16th. Although Sunderland did have a difficult season, you know, last year, and they were fighting to stay up with Big Sam and all that kind of stuff, but Defoe kept him up, and he's done that for years, and he is still a goal scorer. Despite his age, he is still a goal scorer, and you can't deny that. And I was watching them against Manchester City last night, and they actually, I know, although they are a bit of Man City's bogey team and a couple of the other big teams, that's the problem with Sunderland. They can beat your Chelsea, they can beat your Arsenal, they can beat your Man City, but they can't go home to Swansea and beat them. They'll draw or they'll lose, and that's the problem that's been there for years. But I mean, with Defoe scoring goals like he still can, I don't think they're going to do anything massive, but I think they will be fairly clear of the relegation zone. I think it will just be like a wishy-washy season for them. They won't do anything much. They might maybe have a bit of a run in the cup. Maybe I might put them to maybe get to the semi-finals or something like that, like Palace did last season. But I can't see them doing anything other than that. But I just put them in 15th because I think they're good enough to stay up, but I don't quite think they're, you know, going to be pushing for top half of the table or anything like that. Now, in 14th place, you Southampton fans might be really shocked with me doing this, because you had a very good season last year and you got very close. I think you might have got Europa League. If you did, let me know. I'm not too sure. But they finished about 7th last season, or I think it was 6th. It might have been 7th. But I put you down for 14th, and the reason why that is losing Ronald Koeman, I think, is a big shock to the system, and I'm not sure who you've got to replace him, but I felt like he was really settling in there last season and starting to develop the type of football which he wanted and starting to mould everything around him, but now he's moved to Everton, and that was one big shock. I think your defence, I like Jose Fonte, he's a good centre-back, don't get me wrong, but I feel like he just needs some strengthening. It's not, Bertrand's a good player, Fonte's a good, but I just don't feel like you've got that kind of kick, and now losing Pella up front when he went to the Chinese Super League, you just haven't quite got all the players that you need now, and you haven't got a striker, and that's been an issue for a couple of years. You've never had someone up front, you've not got a goal scorer, you haven't got someone that you can say, oh, give him the ball and he'll go score, really. So now I'm putting Bournemouth in 13th, and they had a bit of a wishy-washy season last year because of the fact I think Callum Wilson wasn't there, and I'm watching him play now. Although they're losing 3-0 to Man United right now, he was just scored. You know, Callum Wilson back up front. I like Josh King. I think he's a good player. I think the signing from Leeds, Lewis Cook, I think he's a really good young talent. And I think even if they don't do anything this year, I think they're really starting to build and hopefully just keep moving up year after year. And we'll see how they go with that. But, I mean, yeah, Callum Wilson, I think he's a goal scorer. I think he's got a lot of pace. And I think that's what their game is going to be about. They're going to be going a little bit down the route Leicester went on last year. They just need, maybe if they can purchase a good holding midfielder, someone that could steal the ball just like Kante, and then they can whip the ball up, and they will terrorise teams because they have a very fast attack. You know, they've got so much pace up there, especially the signing of Jordan Ibe. I think he could be a tremendous, you know, he could be one of the stars of the season, maybe. I don't know. But he looks very good. 15 million from Liverpool. He's another young talent. So, like I said, if they can get someone in the midfield that can steal the ball and send it up there with the pace they've got, anything is possible. Now, I bet you're all waiting. Where's Hull? Why were Hull not near the bottom? Because I'm putting Hull in 12th place. Because I actually think, unlike Middlesbrough, unlike Burnley, they're third in the league, and they came up from the playoffs and third from the Championship. And I actually think, although they've lost Steve Bruce, which is a massive kick in the butt, and you know that they haven't maybe bought the players that they wanted to buy, they've actually done really well, and they proved that against beating Leicester City yesterday, 2-1 at home. You know, even just to stay up in the league, you don't need tremendous away form, but when you're at home, you've got to get points. You need them. If they can just keep up a good home form, then why not? Why not let them finish 12th? You know, they do have some good players. They've got a good midfield. You know, they've got Robert Snodgrass. They do have some very talented players, and I mean, we'll see who is in control, who's at the helm of the club when we find out. But I mean, I think they have the potential to do it. They're one of those little David versus Goliath kind of situations where they have the ability to knock off some giants with an upset and maybe cost Man United the title or cost Chelsea the title or whatever, because of various different reasons, because they've just got no pressure on them. People they've been up and down for years, so people just say, just go do it, just have some fun, and why not let Hull finish 12th? So now in 11th, I've actually put Crystal Palace there because they have made some good signings this summer. They've gone and signed Christian Benteke. They've also gone and signed... Might want to look that up. And I think what they've always struggled with is, I like Hennessy. Yeah, I know. I thought he was good for Wales and that at the Euros. But they've brought in Johan Cabaye, who's a very good midfielder. Andros Townsend, who I think, when he's not in an England shirt, he may actually be able to perform. You've got James Tompkins, who came in from West Ham. I think he's a good centre-back. And Steve Mandanda in goal. So they're actually, you know, thickening up their team. They're actually getting strength in the defence, the midfield, and the attack, and even in goal. So they actually are starting to look a lot better, and I think they've got the potential with the squad that they've got. You know, don't forget, like I said, they've got Benteke as well. They're definitely looking like they could really cause some upsets next season, and maybe even push the top half of the table. But I put them in 11th. Now this is going to be the massive shocker. The team that came very close to winning the league last season, Spurs, I am putting in 12th place. So just like I said about Southampton, I'm saying the same with Spurs. The reason why I'm saying this is because I feel like they had a great season, but Harry Kane was abysmal at the Euros. They haven't really signed anyone. They've signed one guy from the Eredivisie who do you seriously think is going to carry them through, or maybe boost them up so they can win the league? I don't think so. I felt like last season was their chance. They cost themselves with Dele Alli getting a red card and various other reasons as to why they messed it up, and that was their chance and they blew it, unfortunately. And they had to accept defeat, and I just feel like they've almost gone, right, well, you know, that was our chance. Why not? Why pick it up? Why? You've got some money now because you finished third. Surely there must be some budget in there where they can go out and buy some proper good players. Their midfield is good, but they need... Wanyama is not enough. He's not enough of a signing to strengthen their midfield. I'm putting Spurs in 10th because I just feel like, you know, don't forget as well, they're having their stadium renovated, so I think that maybe could be a bit of a distraction having to play there. They've got Champions League football next season, which could be real pressure as well, meaning they have to play more often at Wembley as well. So they've got lots of things that they're going to have to, you know, lots of other various distractions that I think could cost them from focusing on the league. Now moving on to Stoke, I'm going to put them in 9th because I feel like, you know, I saw some of Shaqiri's crazy goals at the Euros. He scored an overhead kick, which was absolutely a fantastic goal. I thought it was one of the best goals I've seen in a long time. I think he's really starting to settle in there. Marko Arnautovic, I think he's a really class player. I think he's strong. He's got pace. I think you can play him as a holding centre forward. You can play him out wide. He's got a great set of feet. I think he's got everything that they need to, you know, get the goals when they need it with Shaqiri. And I think they've always lacked a striker, but I think they're starting to get there. Arnautovic is starting to take up that role a bit more, and the signing of Mbulu in the midfield, I think, if I've said that right, I think he's a really interesting player to sign. I think he could really help them next season. He didn't really have a chance of setting because he didn't come until January and he didn't really get playing, but he could be a really good holding midfielder that can dish out the balls out wide to Arnautovic, to Shaqiri. It'll be interesting to see how they fare, but I think with the likes of Arnautovic, Joe Allen, you know, in Bulu, I think they could look really positive next season. Now I'm going to put West Ham in 8th, and the reason why I'm doing that is not for anything like stupid, but I think they have got a big stadium now, and I think that could put a little bit of pressure on them. I think Slaven Bilic has got his tactics right, and they did look very good against Juventus and all the other teams that they played in pre-season, but again, you know, Antonio's a good player. I think he could help them, and I think 8th isn't a bad position to finish in, but I think maybe they might want a little bit higher, but I've given them 8th because I feel Payet's good, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see how he fared, because Sanchez, yes, he had a great first season, but then look at his second season. What did he really do? Payet is the same. He's had a great first season. Can he keep it up in the second? We'll see. And that we'll see. It'll be the test of really if he's actually a really world-class player, or if he's just another goodbye but a one-season wonder. The goalie's always been an issue now with Randolph sitting in net. I'm not convinced, and Adrian having injury problems or whatever reason he's not getting in the starting lineup. They do need a better keeper. I mean, Sam Byram's alright, Saka or whoever it is they're playing up front. Andy Carroll was a good player, and I think he's really good if you can get the balls into him, but all he can do is head the ball. He'd be great to bring on for the final 20 minutes, but you can't really leave him up there a whole game. I'm giving West Ham 8th because I feel like they're still developing. And now in 7th place, another surprise is going to another London team. I'm giving Arsenal 7th. And that's because it's always been the year Wenger, get your cash out in the transfer window. He never signs anyone apart from Xhaka. I mean, they were linked to all these players, Higuain, and it's never gone through. All they've come away with is another midfielder, and that's by far their strongest part in the whole team. They've already got Ozil and various other players in the midfield that, you know, buying another midfielder, what's it really going to do? You've already got Cazorla and Ozil and all that. Go and get a striker and get another centre-back, because Mertesacker being injured as well. There's lots of pressure on Koscielny. I think they have been linked to Valencia's centre-back Mustafi. Maybe that's just another one of the crazy Arsene Wenger links that never happened. It's not gone through yet, and he's got about 15 days or so to sort that out. If it does go through, it'll be a great signing, I think, and the defence will look a lot stronger, and obviously Petr Cech in goal. I'm giving them 7th because they need a striker. Now, of course, we're going to the underdog now, Leicester City, who are going to sit in 6th. I wanted them to go higher, and you know, I was really looking and debating, putting some money on for them to win the Champions League, because imagine that stat, imagine the scenes of that. 2-1 to Hull in your first opening game is just not good enough. Yes, they've signed some very good, you know, young potential wingers, and the signing of Zelia, I think they've got. I don't know if he's going to get any game time though in goal. I don't know whether that's interesting or not. But Schmeichel's a good goalkeeper, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see how they fare. They've signed Musa. Musa looks very good. He does look very good. I've got him in my fantasy team, I'll tell you that now. Leicester do look good, and Musa is very quick. He scored 2 fantastic goals, Barcelona. So I think he is very good. Him and Vardy up front are going to terrorise with that pace. Mahrez still looks as class as ever. He's not dropped. Vardy's a little bit, you know, he spent 2 weeks with Roy Hodgson at the Euros, and he's not exactly the same, but I'm sure he'll get back on track. But that's why I'm giving Leicester 6th place, because I just feel they need a bit more than just some young new signings. They need some big signings. Rolling in at 5th place, I'm going to give it to Everton, and this is where you might be a bit shocked, but the reason why I'm doing this is because mainly I think Ronald Koeman is a fantastic manager, and I think what they've given him, the opportunity to get in with his players. I mean, they've signed Ashley Williams and now Martin Stecklenburg in goal, because Tim Howard, he was a good keeper, but he was getting old. So now the defence is getting really strong. Lukaku is still young, he's getting older, he's really starting to get into his role as the main striker, the front man for them. And I think they've got a really talented midfield. Ross Barkley as well, who's stepping up. He was poor for England, well, he was okay for England, but I mean, they've got lots of players that are developing, and obviously Leighton Baines pulling the strings, you know, he's the more experienced player telling them what to do. I think they can do it. They might miss out just on Champions League, but I feel like Europa League, I think they're ready for it now with the players they've got, with the team they've got. You know, Ronald Koeman, I think he knows how to develop a team like that, and you know, because Lukaku's always been up front on his own, but I think Koeman knows how to cope that when he had Pele, you know, the centre forward role that Lukaku's kind of playing himself. And also don't forget the fact is where you've got Yannick Bolasie coming in. When you give him the opportunity, he's a brilliant player, he's got quick feet, and I think that's what they need, a bit of pace out wide to help provide Lukaku. Looking really positive for Everton. Now finally, it's been a long time since they've been out of Champions League, but I think Liverpool are finally ready. Philippe Coutinho, I think Jurgen Klopp knows exactly what he's doing, bringing in Joel Matip and is it Karius? I think I've said that wrong, from Mainz for like 4 or 5 million. You know, I think the defence is looking really solid, and that's where they've struggled with Sacco and Lovren. They weren't cutting the biscuit last year, they weren't good enough, but now the defence is looking really solid. I think Moreno's getting his game up, and I think they're finally starting to, you know, after that, I'm recording this the day after their 3-4 win away at Arsenal. If you said that to them last season, that would never have been dreamt about, but it's happening now. And Sadio Mane, I think he could be the pivotal player in their chance to win the league next season, or get Champions League, because he's got pace, he's got feet, he can score, he can beat men, he can assist, he can do it all. I think he's an absolutely class player, and you know, 34 million is a lot of money, but I think he's definitely ready to live up to that price tag, and he is definitely ready for this Liverpool season. I think Liverpool really ready to push for Champions League this season. Now in 3rd place, I'm going to give it to Chelsea. I think although they had a very rough season last year, they're bringing in Conte, you know, the midfielder, and the manager Antonio Conte. You know, they've got a good manager, and I think they had a bit of a weak team, and they've only really, the striker's been a bit weak because Diego Costa's not really there, and I think he might be on his way out, so hopefully they can bring in someone else. But I mean, Kante is really going to help them strengthen up their midfield. You know, he's bringing a bit of pace, nicking the ball and sending it up to their strikers, because Conte, as you saw what he did with Italy, he didn't have any star players, but they still managed to do really well in the Euros. I think he's a really good manager, and he could change perhaps, you know, the way Chelsea play, the dynamics of all the football that they play. And also bringing in Michy Batshuayi, I think he's a brilliant striker. I think that's what they need. I definitely think they're ready. Now, it was obviously going to be between these two Manchester clubs, as you've worked out by now, and I'm going to give 2nd place and just miss out to Manchester United. You might think that's a bit strange because they've signed Ibra, Bailey, Mkhitaryan and Paul Pogba. I just feel Mourinho knows what he's doing, but he's a very ignorant manager. Now hear me out. One of the worst managers, if he gets a decision wrong, which is likely to happen in this season, every manager makes mistakes, he will not change it. Let's say Ibra's having a bad game, he won't take him off and bring on Rashford. He won't do that. He's a sucker to say, right, I made the wrong decision, let's change things up. He won't do that. Ibra, he can score and brings a lot of experience. You've got Paul Pogba, who I think is going to strengthen the midfield. You know, if you have Rooney in the midfield and Pogba, you've got pace and experience going together. You're going to get something very special in the middle of the pitch. Mkhitaryan on the right, and Bailey looks very good at the back. That's what they've always struggled for. They've had Smalling, but Daley Blind, he doesn't cut it. And now they've finally got Eric Bailly. I think this could be a very interesting season for Manchester United. I'm giving second place to Manchester United because I feel to push at the top with the signings they've got, definitely. There's no doubt about it. But whether they've got exactly what they need, I don't think it's just there. Now, my champions for the 2016 to 2017 season is going to be Man City. I don't know if this has happened, but this is what I think, because I feel like Gundogan in the midfield, he is a class midfielder, and you know, they've had a very dynamic midfield, but Yaya Toure's not been... He dipped off towards the end of last season, so I think it's really good that Pep Guardiola's gone out and got a Gundogan straight away, because he knows how to work with German players as he did in the Bundesliga previously. And they've obviously got Leroy Sané, another German star, and I think this kid has absolute potential to excel so well this season. Their wide potential that they've got now, bringing in Nolito as well, it's looking very, very good. You know, they've got some quality players that I think could really develop really well. And obviously John Stones at the back. The centre-backs have been a bit weak when they've had injuries, but now they've got options. They've got Otamendi, Mangala, Company, John Stones. That is a very, very solid defence. I think people say, oh, Pep, it's going to take him a few years to get what he wants. I feel like he knows exactly what he's doing. You can already see that in the first game against Sunderland, that this could be a very quick effect, and you could see Man City go straight away to developing very wide, dynamic, fast Nolito, Sané down the wing, put the balls in, and it might mean Aguero's, he might not be the main, I don't know, they might sign another striker, but I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to give Man City the champions for that season. Let's get a comment section, like I said, down below. Tell me all your thoughts on this video, who you think's going to win the league, who you think's going to get relegated, all that stuff down below. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know if you want to see more of these prediction videos for various different things, or if you want me to maybe review them at Christmas. Don't forget to drop a like and let me know down below. Thank you for watching. You guys have been awesome, and I'll see you guys soon.